I was at a game on Friday, and again I seen Trey, not the one that sits on the couch with us, but he got a kid, Chad. I think he's going to Charleston. Yeah, he's going to Charleston, but above that, like he has a kid that's a senior. He has a kid that's a sophomore. Mm-hmm. That's me and Wayne's kid's age, but he also has a 4 or 5 year old, or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh man, you hit the reset button, and I said, you about to go through the whole thing again. And he said, yeah, well, I'm gonna do it a little different this time. And I think that lends to a really good question, to where so I know you might not have been like on the male circuit per se, but you've seen kind of like what it looks like on the circuit and going all the way through it. And like we've been on the circuit per se. And I'll ask, as a parent / like a new parent, what are some things that you would do differently than what you've seen or what you have done this time around if you had a 5, 6-year-old that's hopping into the circuit?
That's dope. Because my son is 3. He'll be 4 in April. And I'm not going to lie, I've learned from so many different people as fathers that went through it before me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I watch, I analyze, I learn, I take different gems, what to do, what not to do, how to go about it. And I will honestly say my son will be a diamond in the rough type of kid because he's not going to be the biggest. Mm-hmm. He's not going to be the tallest. Mm-hmm. So I have to pride my son in the intangibles of the game more so than anything. So the intangibles of basketball more so than anything. And I think because of what I've seen, I'll keep them in social media, but away where I control the narrative of what they see, what they don't see, what you see,
what you don't see. Yeah.
And I'll control the work ethic up until he understands this is a way of life. This is how I'm going to eat. If I want anything out of life, my dad has showed me this has to be earned. Mm-hmm. No one is giving me anything. I'm going to have to take everything there is that I want. Mm-hmm. And when I do that, then I'll let him go. And once he understands that, everything after that point, to me, I've done my job, and it's up to him to now take what I've taught, and you have to put that into play. Mm-hmm. And whatever we get out of that is what I'll accept. Now, do I have the resources and the relationships to help him along the way? Yes, but I think every dad is going to exercise those options along the way as long as the kid is given what they need to give.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I can't give you something, bro, that I had to earn that you're not earning. I'm not one of those dads that's going to do that, because that ain't going to do nothing but put you in a bad situation that you done got something you didn't earn.
Yeah.
And now you'll be out on your ass in the next couple of years. So
rubber hit the road.
I've been actually able to learn a lot from different dads, different perspectives, look at how they started, what they got their kid to, and those different measurables. Like I used to Rob McCormick with Little Rod. I see Rico, the way he deals with JJ. And these are guys that I've seen in 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade.
Yeah.
Right.
And now in 9th grade.
Yeah.
And so I got a really good circle to look at a variety of different guys.
Yeah.
And then I can take bits and pieces of everybody and take bits and pieces of what not to do.
And what to do.
And exercise that with my own son. Understanding that no matter what you do, he has to earn it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing.
Wayne?
I think for me, one thing I would do differently is help him understand. Well, for one, I would take back the mindset I had that there's more time to get better. If that makes sense to you. So at certain points in time, they're younger, like, well, I ain't got to go there. You know, he's only 5, he's only 6, he's only 7. And I remember he's only 10. So you're going to keep saying that to a certain point in time to where, he 18.
Is knocking at the door.
Knocking the door.
Okay.
And I'll never forget this advice. And shout out to Mrs. Smith, Miss Smith, Ishmael Smith's mom. We were sitting there having a conversation one day, and she said, Wayne, I know he wants it for himself, but you got to make him want it even more. So I mean, you have to actually manage more. Don't just sit there and let him make your schedule when you go to the gym. Now we going to the gym. Now we going to the weight room. Now we're going to run. You know, I would have did that a little bit earlier versus kind of sitting back and not allow him to come to me and say, Dad, I want to be good at basketball. And that's what we took up to the next step. But he was always a gym rat. Always wanted to go to the gym. Always wanted to get better. So though that made it easy to kind of fast track a certain part of it. But, you know, just looking back at it, I wish I would have not made the notion of he's this age, he has time, you know, and I felt like I would have implemented more conversation and film study at an earlier age than what we did start doing, you know, so just really building the IQ and a feel for the game earlier, putting more emphasis on the body itself at a younger age too, you know what I mean? Like, you know, hey, man, you do your push.
Skinny kids.
Yeah, we got skinny kids. You know, you talking about you do your push-ups? Oh, you did? You know, I ain't checking. Should have been there. You know, hey, nah, books on the back, getting 10. And you know what I mean? Type of mindset though. But I feel like I can't take it back and go back with him. But if I had another opportunity, I would look at it differently. Yeah. But I don't want to take away anything that we have done up until this point because it's been a blessing to actually be along for the journey. I think that's been the beauty of it more than anything else is that our relationship as a father and a son has prospered for our time that we've got to spend together in the gym, around the game, going to games, just talking about the game, just having that common interest that will always be a connection between us is something that I never would take back. But, you know, just looking, and like you say, you're looking at other parents and how they raise their sons and on the court type of thing, you know, looking at some of the things I would never do, you know, some of like I would never chastise my son in a sense in public.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I guess to piggy to where you're at, there's also, as much as there's great examples of what to do, there's also amazing examples of what not to do. And you see those inside like blaring examples as well on the circuit.
Oh, yeah.
I guess if I'm thinking through it, I'd probably say one, I always have like the love-hate relationship with coaching as a dad and coaching my son, in which I think that, again, if I was to redo it, I've said this a couple of times. I don't know if I would have coached him again because of, I think that there's a liberty of a certain level of, as crazy as this might sound, selfishness that you can have with your kid when you're not coaching. But when you are coaching, you have to worry about like 10 to 12 other kids at the same time. And sometimes like, you know, like your kid might kind of like, you want to focus, but like, if you're a good enough coach, there's the daddy ball thing. And you almost have to like.
Can I be honest with you? Not to cut you off. I advise every parent that's out here, hear me clearly. If you have the opportunity to play daddy ball, do it.
Think so?
I hate to say that, but if I am put in that situation, I'm going to commit myself to making sure my son is ready. Period, point blank.
And that's not necessarily considered daddy ball, though.
Yeah, it's not really daddy ball, but if I have the opportunity to coach my son, why wouldn't I make sure I can put him in the best situation possible? And I'm going to be fair.
Balancing out that part would be something that I would think about as a parent.
Yeah.
I think I saw QJ with Gron. We played against y'all, I think, in 4th grade or 5th grade. It was an Atlanta tournament.
Yeah.
And one thing I can pride, and I can hang my hat when it comes to Ed Cook's kids, shout out to Ed, I ain't no hater, is they play with a different level of toughness and a different level of grit. And I see that with the kids moving forward as they have gotten to high school. They still have that grit, that toughness, and an IQ about defense that you cannot explain.
Mm-hmm.
That the kids who have played for him understand what it takes to be really good defensively, know what it takes to be tough, and know what it takes to be gritty. And I can appreciate that from a player perspective, also from a coach perspective, because a lot of coaches can't get the best out of the kids that they have.
Yeah.
And for me, when a coach can tap into things that the kid never knew that they had, is a great sign of success for me. So I want to apply him for that, because in the short time that I've seen him coach the different teams that he's had, they haven't been prided on offensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
He's had teams of a bunch of different versions of like ability and talent. But if it's one thing that he he know how to win, and it's always on the defensive end. So I gotta definitely give him his flowers for that. He does a wonderful job of teaching that side of the basketball like no other, and they take the DNA of him, and they play tough, they play gritty. They're a team that wins 50-50 balls, and do the things that don't always show up on that stat sheet. So that's the reason, honestly, I recruited DJ, because he understands what it takes to win tough games. Not games that you blow people out, but what does it feel like to be in those games where it's possession by possession? You need stops. And I like kids who believe in defense more than they believe in offense.
Yeah. That's definitely the way you gotta have it, though. You definitely gotta have kids with grit, teach kids gritty. Like my cousin says, defense is nasty.
It is.
Yeah, and
everybody don't like that.
Everybody don't like it, though. But when you can have that mindset that it's nitty gritty, that thing is nasty, it's ugly, it stank. You know what I mean? Like all those things that make you curl your lip up and hang your nose up. You know what I mean? Those are things that defense is about. And when you have a group of kids that really have bought into that and understand it, man, it makes coaching them a lot easier. You're gonna lose some for sure, but you're gonna win a lot more.
Yeah.
I think we try to do the same thing over at TU. When I was there, by myself, and when Q came over, it was like, if
the practices
if your coach is known for being an intense person, my kid's going to exemplify the same thing on the court defensively.
I said the same thing. I feel like every team takes the identity of the head coach.
Yeah. So like if
the head coach can't lead, how can I expect the kids to lead if I'm not a leader?
Nah, you right about that.
If I don't bring energy, how do I expect my team to be this team that's just like off the chain with energy when I don't exude the same thing?
Nah, it's a fact.